Welcome to video number 2 out of 8 in a series that I am doing about focusing and getting stuff done. So have a look around if you haven't seen the other videos, because you might be interested in other topics in this series. Now I live in Canada and it is January. And so I don't think I could do this series of videos without mentioning all of the health benefits of spending time in the sunshine. Personally, I always feel better each year from about mid-May to mid-September. And unfortunately, that's only about 4 months of the year. So it is no surprise to me that spending time in the sun has some real health benefits when it comes to your mood and how you're able to perform cognitively as well. So some benefits of spending time in the sunshine are, first of all, if you're out in the sun, it stimulates your body to produce both serotonin and dopamine. So those are feel-good neurotransmitters. Regular exposure to sunlight also regulates your body's production of melatonin, which affects your ability to sleep. And studies have also shown links between sunlight exposure and improved memory and cognitive performance. Now, if you're able to get some exercise while you're out in the sun, even better. In yesterday's video, I went over how exercise benefits the brain. So have a look out for that if you want to find out more. And everyone, I think, knows that sunshine is the best way for your body to get vitamin D. Vitamin D is strongly linked to bone health. So it helps your body to absorb calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus. And vitamin D helps the body to break down old bones and to build new bones. It's also linked to having a healthy immune system and a cardiovascular system as well. People who experience depression and seasonal affective disorder are more likely to have low levels of vitamin D. In Canada, about 32% of us are vitamin D deficient, and this really changes according to the season. So it's more like 40% in the winter and about 25% in the summer. And the two population groups that are typically more likely to be vitamin D deficient are senior citizens and people of color. You can get vitamin D from foods, but it's honestly really not the best place. Some food sources of vitamin D are fatty fish, so salmon, tuna, cod liver oil, beef liver, egg yolks, and mushrooms. You can also get foods that have been supplemented or enriched with vitamin D, like cow's milk, orange juice, breakfast cereals, and other plant-based milks. Sunlight is composed of both UVA and UVB rays. We get vitamin D from UVB, and when UVB rays hit our skin, they interact with the cholesterol in our skin, and later on the liver and the kidney also play a part in creating vitamin D in the body for us. A couple of things to keep in mind. Wearing sunscreen will also block UVB rays. And so it's really a balancing act between getting enough sunlight for your health, but not too much sunlight that it is detrimental to your health, definitely. And UVA light will go through glass, but glass actually blocks UVB rays. So you might be basking in your living room in a sunbeam, but your body's not making any vitamin D from those rays of sunshine. you can check your local weather report and find out the UV index for where you're living for that day. If the UV index is 3 or more, you actually don't need a lot of sun exposure to get what you need. So about 10 minutes of sunlight will probably be enough on your skin to get all the vitamin D that you need for your health. Keep in mind though, if you live 37 degrees latitude or more from the equator, you're probably not getting enough vitamin D from the sun except for during those summer months. So myself, I live at 43 degrees latitude, which is actually pretty far south in Canada. I looked it up. An average UV index for my area in the summertime is 8. But today I checked and it was a whopping 0. So I was outside for a while, but I definitely did not get any UVB rays at all. No vitamin D today. So my advice is just in the winter, get what sunshine you can while still being safe. UV index will be a lot lower, and you're also all bundled up, right? So whereas in the summertime, you might be wearing a summer dress or a t-shirt and shorts, but the only amount of exposed skin you might have in the middle of winter is your face. So it's tricky. But that doesn't mean that you have to get sun exposure every single day. Vitamin D is fat soluble. So this means that it's going to store vitamin D in your fat cells. And it's just waiting there, like there's a little pantry of vitamin D in your fat, and your body will release it as it's needed. So you will create a store of vitamin D for later during the summertime. It will last you for a while, but it likely won't last you through the entire winter time, unfortunately. How do you know if your vitamin D levels are low? The only way to really find out is to go to your healthcare practitioner and get yourself a blood test. That being said, there's 3 groups of people who are more likely to be at risk of vitamin D deficiency. The first group are people who live further from the equator, which I have already covered. The second group is people of color. And that's just because of the melanin in skin. And so this melanin makes them UV resilient, so they just need more time in the sun to be able to absorb the same amount of vitamin D as like someone like me, who I'm sure my skin is like a UV vitamin D creating, absorbing machine. So I've read that people with heritage from India will need about 3 times more sun than someone who is pale. And people who have African ancestry might need 6 to 10 times more sun. The third group of people who are more likely to be vitamin D deficient are senior citizens. And that's because the skin gets older as we age, and so it gets harder for the body to make vitamin D from the sun. And so if you have a 70-year-old standing next to a 20-year-old with the same skin types, then the 7-year-old will absorb about a quarter of the vitamin D as the 20-year-old. With the elderly, they are more likely to spend time indoors as well. So that's another factor to consider. How do you up your dose of sunshine and vitamin D in the wintertime? There's a few things you could do. First of all, you can just try your best to make getting out in the sun a priority in your life. I know this is not entirely up to you because the weather has to cooperate first of all, and days are shorter, so you might be inside at work or school, like basically when the sun's out, but try your best. It won't hurt, right? The second thing you can do is supplement with vitamin D. So the daily recommended amount of vitamin D is 600 UI for children and adults and 800 IU. Did I say UI? IU for senior citizens. That's the amount necessary to prevent bone disease. But many people would argue that more vitamin D is necessary for optimal health. So a good, safe daily dosage of a vitamin D supplement is generally considered 1,000 to 2,000 IU, and for most adults. If you're shopping for vitamin D, just a few things to keep in mind. D3 is the most active form of vitamin D. Typically, though, it is derived from animal source. So if you're vegan or vegetarian, you might want to do a little bit more looking about where your vitamin D supplement comes from. Also, since it is fat soluble, you want to get it either in drops or a soft gel like this. These are my vitamin D supplements here. So you don't want to get it in like a white pill form because your body's not going to be able to absorb it very well. The third thing you can try is a UV light, which I never tried. So this is a special lamp which you have in your house, and you sit in front of it for a certain amount of time per day. You get your UV light, you get your vitamin D, and you also get all the other benefits that I listed at the beginning of the video. So if you have a UV light, let me know what the experience has been like, what you tried, what worked, what didn't work. I would love to hear about your experiences in the comments because I am considering one for myself maybe.